What's up, guys? It's been a minute. I figured I'd give a quick tour before we dive into the numbers. So we moved in about 4 months ago, finally got everything hung up. But if you're wondering where I've been, it's pretty much been this. Between two littles and moving, videos definitely take the back burner. But here is the place. This island was a huge selling point for us. We like to host and cook a lot, so having this extra space has been huge. Believe it or not, this is pretty much the base model, like everything's standard. We paid for a few upgrades like the lighting and the big bowl, a few other things, but overall this is it. The space back here is awesome because we're just able to like huck all the kids' stuff back here. It gets messy so quickly, so having that space is great. And then to give you guys a better idea of how this is laid out, we're actually a condo, but we kind of have a townhouse feel. So we are this top unit of around 2,500 square feet, and then there's people below us which are around 1,500, and then we both have a garage. So you get the townhouse feel, but some of the perks of being a condo, like we're not responsible for the roof or the siding or any of the landscaping. So that's been nice. And then this little patio area out here. It's been cold since we moved in, so I haven't got to use it yet, but I'm sure we will. So this is the main floor. Then moving upstairs, we've got the kids' bathroom. It's nice the contractors lowered the sink so that way the kids can reach it a little bit better. They're still pretty young now, so it doesn't really matter, but it's a nice thought. This is the laundry room. Having its own space is great for noise. That's a linen. This is utilities. And the bedrooms are the same size, which is nice because you don't have to pick and choose. And then the only change is this one has a walk-in, which is great for all my daughter's little dresses and stuff. And then moving this way is the primary. So we've got nice tall ceilings, and then we've got one walk-in closet there, and then another one over here, which we just use as storage and junk. Since that one's so big, we don't really need to. And then here's our bathroom. My favorite part is that we both got our own sinks, which I've never had before. So it's pretty cool. And then this bump out is really the only reason we made this house work, because I work remote full time. I need my own area, and because it's only 3 bedrooms, this little space gives me just enough room to work and be out of everyone's hair. So here's the place, and then I'll speed run it downstairs so you can see how many stairs there are. There's quite a bit, but it's a trade-off. If you want this extra space, you got to go up in the air. So another big perk that you saw up there is having a garage. So it's pretty messy right now. It's just storage, but eventually we'll want to turn it into a full garage and have it a bit more cleaned up. So you can see we've already started a little bit, but yeah, that's the place. So let's go ahead and dive into the numbers. So the document I thought would be the most helpful for you all is the closing disclosure. Now, over your buying process, you'll see multiple iterations of this document, and that's just because it changes over time as they get more accurate and refined numbers. The numbers at the top you'll see are the loan amount, your interest rate, and then your estimated total monthly payment. Now, don't get excited about that number because that doesn't include HOA, potential PMI, and then all of your utilities. Going to the bottom, you'll see your closing costs and your cash to close. This number does not include any money you've already put towards your down payment. This is just exactly the amount you need to either wire or bring a check to closing, depending on what your lender wants. Now, I'm not going to go through all the closing costs and details, but I wanted to point out a few important ones, such as the loan amount. So these are points that can be used to lower your interest rate that you pay upfront at closing. And this is kind of how lenders can manipulate how much your monthly payment is. So you definitely want to look out at how many points they've paid when they've given you this great monthly payment. You'll have your title fees, etc., and then you'll have a bunch of prepaid, so you'll have to pay a ton of taxes up front. You'll have your homeowner's insurance premium, and then if you have a condo such as this one, you'll have a bunch of HOA and condo dues that you'll have to do in closing. At the bottom, you'll see kind of your loan estimate versus your final numbers, and then the one I really wanted to show you is this one.
if I wait 30 years to pay my fixed rate conventional loan interest rate loan, I will pay over $1 million for this condo, which was only 605. So this is a motivation to either make extra payments so that way you don't pay so much in interest, or move every 2 to 5 years and avoid that capital gains and just keep leveling up. Now, to better digest some of these numbers, I broke it down in Excel even further, so that way you could see a bit more of what I saw. So I had 2 EMDs that were kind of my deposits to the seller, saying, hey, I'm serious about buying, and if I back out, you can keep this money. So if you do it, you definitely don't want to back out, otherwise you'd lose those deposits. And then they had a promotional rate lock that if I locked my rate and paid this amount, I'd get to lock my rate, and they'd credit that money back to me towards my down payment at closing if I stayed with their lender. You have one appraisal that was mandatory, and then this one was personal. It's a lot of money, so I figured I'd get an extra set of eyes on it, rather be safe than sorry. You'll have your closing costs and then the rest of your down payment. So the total to get into this house was $135,000. Now, that is obviously a lot of money, but that's how much it costs. And then to make myself feel a little better, I look at this estimate here and there, and it's already at 632. So it seems to be trending up, and hopefully it will continue to go upwards as I continue to live here. Now, you got to take that estimate with a grain of salt, but it's still a decent tracker. Now, looking at what my actual monthly cost is including HOA, gas, electricity, and then some miscellaneous. I've already had to replace some air filters, so there are definitely some little costs associated with owning a home. But all in for a place like this with 20% down is around $3,900 a month. Now, how much money do you actually need to get a place like this? Based on the 33% of your gross income rule towards housing, nothing more, you'll want to make at least $141,000 of household income, and that's just to feel comfortable. You can obviously get approved for less, but that is what I'd recommend having. And of course, you want at least 3 months of emergency funds saved up, or 3 months of costs saved up in an emergency fund, which would put you around $20,000 with a house of this size. And then we were able to furnish our entire place for just 10 grand between Facebook Marketplace and Amazon Black Friday deals. So it's definitely possible. And then of course you'll have your 20% down payment and closing costs to bring you to a total of $165,000 saved up in order to get a house like this. Now, one of the huge advantages of getting a new build is you're able to do it in installments like this over 8-month period, and at least that's how long it took. So we definitely didn't have $165,000 just sitting in a bank account. Over that 8 months, we were able to come up with that amount of money to make this a good deal. So definitely an advantage of a new build, plus the $20,000 lender credit that they gave us, which was super helpful. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of how much it costs to actually buy a place in Northern Virginia or a place of this cost. Now, of course, if you ever want to reach out, feel free to email me here. I love to talk finance, real estate, and that's one of the perks of being such a small channel is I'm able to do that. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.